God is good. Today I want to share my early impressions of Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access and share with you my thoughts on is it worth spending the $60 now in order to play this early and actually incomplete build and reserve the full version upon its release. I'm currently just over 6 hours deep into the game, and I have a decent good understanding now as I've played with its systems and came to grips with what kind of game this is. But do keep in mind, my full review will come later on after I've played through the early access a few times. Before we begin though, if you are new here, please consider subscribing, especially if you're interested in CRPGs, RPGs, JRPGs, all that kind of thing, as well as old school MMORPGs, because that is what we do here. And a big shout out to the members of Napalm. I could not do this without you. Thank you. And if you are interested in becoming a member, please click the join button down below. Now let's get down to it. Baldur's Gate 3 is definitely a D&D campaign brought to PC. A very cool campaign that comes with many crazy different paths it could turn out like. You know how when you're a dungeon master, you make a campaign and you have this grand idea of what it will turn out like and how your players will react, and then when it's game night, everything goes insane and it turns out to be a totally, completely different adventure. Well, most CRPGs, or RPGs in general actually, force you down paths and force the DM's adventures down your throat. They may have different factions or let you decide how to tackle the goals, but for the most part, even in the grander, better RPGs, you are still going to have the same adventure basically as everyone else. Well, that is definitely not the case with Baldur's Gate 3. Your ability scores, your class, your race, your luck with the D20 rolls are all going to come into play, and you very well may have to live with some insane results sometimes. Not only does the game allow for so many different paths and stories to be told, people to meet or even not meet depending on your decisions, to people to kill or people to save, but even when you try to decide what happens next, you may not meet the check with the D20 roll, and you will suddenly have a very different story than you even planned or thought. And that's without going into all the favorability of your actions with your party. Some agree and others disagree with your decisions. What I'm trying to say is that this is an RPGer's dream game, and I mean a role-playing game. Every NPC in the game is role-playing with you, and you are role-playing with them, and you are making a ton of decisions, and they are affecting the world and how your future in the world plays out. And it's masterclass at feeling like a Dungeons & Dragons campaign with tons of freedom, not just in conversation, but in how you interact with the world. There are common actions at the bottom that you can use at any point while running around, like jumping and throwing and helping, and it may not be an actual new feature, but with this engine you can do some surprising things with the various tools that definitely make it feel fresh and make it feel more freedom like you might have in a D&D session. So the game is really fun, and the graphics, I have to say, look really nice. There are some texture issues in the early access version upon release. Sometimes the textures don't load or they take a while to kick in, causing some very ugly environments at times, but when they are loaded, which admittedly is most of the time, the game does look really impressive. The lighting is great and adds a lot of realism to the models in the game, as well as the environments. And the new, for CRPGs of this nature anyway, camera angle, which is pulled down close third-person style to the main character, works really well, and I can imagine that later on this game will be released on consoles and it should handle that really well with that angle. I use this angle most of the time and pull my camera out for battles, and I love it. I personally can get more invested in the graphics and the world of a game when I can see it in a proper third person as opposed to the isometric view, but both of those views are available here. There are graphical glitches from time to time, but it is early access after all. The music, though, is profound and really gets you in the mood. From sweeping orchestras and singing that sounds like it came from the heavens themselves, with chords striking as if from another dimension, the music will pull you deeper into the immersion. An immersion is what this game does. I swear that there were times I was just sitting there drooling at the monitor at certain points like a brain-dead idiot because I was so invested in the game and what was happening and the prospects of what could come next or what I should do. And I have to say, rolling that D20 lights up my nerdy little soul. I just absolutely love all the touches of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition on full display. Now, the elephant in the room is that a lot of Baldur's Gate fans from the original 2 games, a lot of them are not happy. They think the graphic art style doesn't fit with Baldur's Gate, which I can kind of see that. The original Baldur's Gates were really dark and had that Diablo style that was popular back then. Or that there's too much conversation, they don't like the turn-based combat, and I can see their point of view because this is very different. But Baldur's Gate was always about trying to capture a tabletop session of D&D to me, and if you spend any reasonable amount of time playing Baldur's Gate 3, you would be hard-pressed not to have a blast and to agree that it is doing D&D 5th edition a ton of justice. Plus, if you're a true nerd, if you're a true geek, man, I just do not understand how you would not have a complete blast playing in a D&D world with the systems that Larian has built. Basically, Baldur's Gate 3 is so far everything I had hoped it would be and more. And I just want to get this video done, to be honest, so I can get back in it and play some more. It feels like an entire universe untapped, waiting for me to carve my path through it over and over and over again. I will start streaming this October 7th, which is tomorrow if you're watching this when the video is new, and I will start out solo playing with the viewers, making my decisions, and then later I will stream some multiplayer. And with that, I will wrap this up by saying, if you like Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, if you like RPGs, CRPGs, and you don't mind putting up the few bugs and glitches in order to see the greatest evolution to CRPGs in over a decade at the least, then the early access is definitely worth the price of admission, as I can see myself playing it over and over and getting hundreds of hours before the launch of the full game. I love it, and there's already decisions I've made in my first 6 hours that I already can't wait to see what would have happened if I would have done different things. Now, if you're expecting Baldur's Gate 2, exactly, which would be silly in 2020 since Baldur's Gate 2 is based on Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition, well, if that's what you expect, then no. Baldur's Gate 3 is just not that. Just like the original Baldur's Gate showed us what CRPGs could do back then with the Infinity Engine, Baldur's Gate 3 is doing the same thing today, in my opinion, with this amazing, flexible system and engine they have built. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and a big shout out to the members of Napalm. Thank you so much, and if you are interested in helping support this channel, please click the join button down below for more information. And until next time, God bless and happy gaming.
Release her.
Please. I'm sorry.
This is madness, Korga. She's just a
what, Wrath? A thief? A poison? A threat? I will imprison the devil, and I will cast out every stranger. She's a parasite. She eats our food, drinks our water, then steals our most holy idol in thanks. Wrath, lock her up. She remains here until the rite is complete. And keep still, devil. Tila is restless.
Come, Korga. We took back the idol. Surely...
Do it.
Please listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. It's a video buffet, you can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize, but just please just subscribe. hit the bell notification to